Reverse Reverend here to do my review of Kingdom Chapter 598, Woven. This is a great chapter. It's really simple, but it's still really good. The chapter is basically Shin battling Chogaryu, the Zhao general, and then the Hishin unit holding out until Shin can defeat Chogaryu, and then Chogaryu reminiscing about his master's wish for China's unification, his master being Ren Shoujo, one of the former three great heavens from Zhao. I think it was last chapter when Ren mentioned in a flashback that if he were to die from an enemy with the power to unify China, that he would be fine with it, and we kind of see a similar finale to this chapter. And then the chapter ends with Shin's victory, and then again the pronouncement of Sei's dream and his own dream to become a great general of the heavens with his final attack, as is typical for Shin. Now I'm going to kind of walk through the chapter and then give some commentary on it, and then break it down a little bit at the end. So the chapter starts off with Vana Nanji, I think that's how you say his name, fighting to get through to Chogaryu and the Hishin unit struggling to hold them back. We then see both the Hishin unit on the battlefield and the one in the HQ in danger of collapsing pretty soon. We then go back to Shin and Chogaryu's clash, and we see Kyokai fall down as she's struggling to hold back some of the Zhao who are encroaching on their fight. It's really just showing how dire the situation is when even Kyokai is falling down and in trouble. We then jump to Shin getting blasted by Chogaryu. He blocks the attack, meaning it doesn't cut him, but he gets pushed way back. We then see some members of Shin's unit questioning how a supposed strategist like Chogaryu is that strong, and Chogaryu hears them and answers that he's strong because he's woven together and created by the memories and dreams of both his allies and fallen comrades. And then after that, he attacks Shin again and pushes him even further back and seemingly knocks him unconscious and off his horse. We then see that he doesn't actually fall, and Kyokai mentions that Shin is strong because he's also woven together by the legacies of not only his friends and those who have died fighting alongside him, but also those he's defeated like Ringoku and Mangoku. And we then get an amazing panel. It's again one of Hara's great drawings of Shin with Oki, Shin in the foreground and Oki in the background as Shin swings Oki's glaive. And then we see Chogaryu mention that he sees Oki within Shin and is heavily cut on his shoulder. Chogaryu then falls back, looks up at the sky, and kind of reminisces on his master. Shin then states that Sei will unify China, and Shin will become a great general in the heavens, and then he cuts down Chogaryu. In Chogaryu's flashback, he's reminded of his master saying something similar to what Shin says about the unification of China, and then the chapter's ending with Chogaryu either getting cut in half or almost getting cut in half. I basically just reiterated the chapter, but I want to go through three main points that make this chapter so good and just make the series so good. It's why I've read over 500 chapters in about the course of 2 weeks to catch up to the series. So first of all is the art. One of the things is the faces of all the people fighting around Shin, whether it's ally or foe. You can always see the emotion in the faces that are drawn, and it really brings you in. It's not kind of like these stale faces or you're like, I don't know what that guy's feeling. Is he angry? Is he upset? It's like, no, you feel this connection because the faces either show exhaustion or they show shock or they show fear. Hara's really good at drawing and showing that emotion and giving you that emotional connection and energy. The shots of Shin getting almost knocked off the horse and then him with Oki are some examples of great art as well. This is just Hara drawing epic panels for epic moments that really drive home how important these moments are and how impactful they are. It's not every chapter this happens, but it is during the most important moments where Hara really shines. I think that's something that really hits you in the gut because you can have a really great and powerful moment and have poor art and it's still a great and powerful moment. But if you have art on this scale and drawings on this scale during these epic moments, then it really, really brings it home. It's something that great authors like Oda and Hara share, despite their series being almost nothing alike. The second thing I want to go over is the trope of the main character shouting his dream and the enemy hearing it as they're defeated or they die or whatever. This can be used poorly, like Naruto screaming it over and over against Obito. Granted, that's shonen versus seinen, but I just want to point that out as an obvious example that most people are going to understand. But when this is properly used, like in this chapter, it allows you to see the toll a dream has on a character and the meaning that dream has. It's not just a slogan, really. And so it's important, goes beyond, this is something that I want. It becomes something that's important. And again, this chapter is called Woven. When she shouts it at the end, and you have him reminiscing on his allies and enemies alike, it really kind of brings that together. He's influenced not just by people like Hyo and Shosa, but also Mangoku and Rengoku. And it seems, it's not stated in this chapter, but he understands Shin's woven together by people like Rinko and Mangoku, who are his enemies that he's killed, alongside his comrades who have died for him. He seems to understand at this point that his dream will require others to die and require sacrifices, but he must carry those with them and not step all over their sacrifices by just giving up and allowing himself to lose, or giving up because he's in pain or hurt or whatever. It seems now like he's understanding it is a burden. But the reason he can't fall is no longer just because he's stubborn. I mean, granted, it's still true, he's always going to be a stubborn character, but it seems this chapter emphasizes the weight that he has of those who have gone before him and those whose lives he's taken. So I thought that was something that was really great, and adds to, like, when he's announcing his dream about unifying China under Sei and then becoming a great general. It seems he understands the weight of that. It's no longer just a dream. It's something that requires him and others to give up a lot, but it also has importance to those who are fighting for that dream and who are giving up their lives for that dream. Again, this could end up changing later on as the He-Shin unit battles, but I really do think this was a strong emphasis on this character development, despite very little words being spoken. And then the words that are spoken are things that he said 100 times before, but it really did feel like it had an impact. The enemies of the series seem, for the most part, to connect with the protagonist's motives. Even if they disagree, they still have respect for those who are willing to fight for what they believe in. Again, this is not the case with everybody, and it happens even when you're fighting somebody who you hate and you want to kill. Like, Oki's hated by a lot, but he's revered by those who saw him and those who battled him because of what he stood for and because of how he conducted himself on the battlefield. So even if the connection between someone who's fighting Shin or Kyokai or another one of the protagonists, their death or defeat doesn't equate to them understanding, believing the protagonist's motives, it does seem everyone who's killed feels kind of the genuineness of protagonist convictions, unless it's like a sneak attack or a sudden death. But as they're dying, they generally seem to see what the protagonist is aiming for. Again, that doesn't mean they're killed, and as they're dying, oh, I understand everything the protagonist is doing. It's just like they have kind of this connection at their death where they're dying and they understand the person who's killing them has a deep conviction, whether or not it's right or wrong. It's this person has this conviction. It's not some foolhardy, or it may be a foolhardy dream, but it's not just something that's done on a whim. It's part of the reason there's a projection of Oki from Shin. And we see this, I think Rinpa mentioned, with Ohan and Moten and Shin all having that slight aura beginning to build up of a general. He didn't fight and kill them, or they didn't obviously fight and kill him, but it's something that he can see, and I think it's showcased really well when an enemy is defeated, like Mangoku. Mangoku didn't agree with Shin in the end and thought what he was doing was useless, but he did seem to see what he was aiming for in the end. But this also shows when characters don't change and characters die, holding on to their beliefs, it kind of shows you what type of characters they are. Like, some begin questioning their convictions, others hold too much pride and don't want to let go of their convictions. And then I feel like Chogaryu in this chapter is someone who's able to have his dream passed on like Rincho was. And even though it's not going to be Zhao, who he sees as unifying the country like his master wanted, he is able to pass away knowing that there is somebody who has that dream and possibly the power to make that a reality. So he can kind of pass on knowing that even though he didn't complete his master's wish, that someone else is out there who's going to, or likely going to, or has the potential to. And it can be done poorly or cheesily written, but I do feel like this ending and this death was really genuine, and we'll probably see a little bit more of it next chapter. That's all I have for this chapter. I definitely want to see how this arc progresses. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment on how you feel about how this fight went and how the war's going. And then also leave any suggestions or critiques on how I can improve my videos in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching.